Welcome to the VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Just a couple of days ago, we're making videos talking about Kirk Herbstreit praising this Tennessee football team, says they're on the rise. Fast forward just a couple of days, now Kirk Herbstreit is blasting NIL and references five-star quarterback Nico Iamaleava. We're going to get into his comments, take a look at what he had to say. But as always, do me a favor, go ahead and smash that like button just below the video. It's quick, it's free, it's easy. It helps the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. If you are new to the Talkin' VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts, we're not insiders, we are fans just like you. For the fans, by the fans. If you like what we do, make sure you subscribe, click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. I had a fun live stream this morning, kind of breaking down the Ball State game. We looked at what they bring to the table, kind of a brief little scouting report. We talked about expectations. We also hit 14,000 subscribers while live on air. If you missed that show, go back, check it out. About an hour and a half, good little show. I think you'll enjoy it. But let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's talk about Kirk Herbstreit and what he had to say about not only NIL, but he mentions five-star quarterback Nico Iamaleava. How about you keep Nico's name out of your mouth, Kirk Herbstreit? Let's see what he had to say. It says here, Kirk Herbstreit sounds off on BS NIL collectives, references Tennessee five-star quarterback Nico Iamaleava. This is on 247sports.com. It says here, name, image, and likeness has forever changed the landscape of college sports. The collectives have trickled down into the world of high school athletes, which does not sit well with Kirk Herbstreit, who questioned where things are headed. Here's the quote from Kirk Herbstreit in an interview with the LA Times. He said, that's not what NIL is about. It was about Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or a guy who was established on the field creating marketing opportunities. It's not about trying to outbid another booster to try to get a recruit. He says that's just not a healthy model. The quote goes on to say it's terrible for the sport. It puts these coaches in weird spots. What I'm about to say, what I'm about is the next wave, the ESPN money, the Fox money. It's going into the Big Ten from Fox and the SEC from ESPN. I'm all about the players saying, forget NIL, let's negotiate and get a share of those dollars. Oh, we're going to a 16-team playoff. How many billions of dollars? Okay, we need to share that. The quote goes on to say, but I don't like what it started out with recruiting. I went to this school and got offered this. Next week, I'm going to go to that school and got offered this. That's a bunch of BS. That is the quote from Kirk Herbstreit when it comes to NIL in the world of recruiting. But look, it's 2022. It is the wild, wild west. It is what it is. The NCAA opened up the floodgates when they made NIL a thing, when it became legal to pay players. Now, all across the country, you've got your Jimbo Fishers, you've got your Nick Sabans completely denying the fact that they're using NIL in recruiting. We all know it's happening. We all know it's true. Now, the reason why Nico's name keeps getting mentioned is because he's in the state of California, and it is perfectly legal in the state of California to pay a high school athlete. Allegedly, I've not seen the contract, but obviously a lot of rumors out there circulating that Nico has signed the dotted line. And that's why when we talk about recruiting, you talk about, can Tennessee flip a guy like Carnell Tate? Can Tennessee flip a guy like Francis Mauigoa? Because there are rumors out there that those guys have big-time NIL deals in place as well. But the difference between Carnell Tate and Nico, the difference between Francis Mauigoa and Nico, is that Nico's in the state of California, so he can put the pen to paper, which means it is a done deal. Again, that's just me speaking. I don't know. I've not seen it. I've not seen the contract. I don't know that the ink is dried on the contract, but that is just one man's opinion. But again, if you don't think that Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher are using NIL to recruit players in high school, if you don't think Nick Saban is using NIL to recruit players in high school, I've got some oceanfront property in East Tennessee that I will sell you for extremely, extremely cheap. Everybody is using NIL in the world of recruiting. It's not just Tennessee. It's not just Nico Iamaleava. It's happening all across college football. So Kirk Herbstreit, keep Nico's name out your mouth. Goes on to say here, Tennessee quarterback commit and Downey, California Warren five-star Nico Iamaleava landed a reported NIL deal worth $8 million before even signing with the Volunteers. It says here that's gotten a lot of press, and Herbstreit referenced it during the interview. He says here, this is from Herbstreit. Says, how can an adult with a good conscience say this is awesome for the sport? What's going to happen when the kid from Warren, as an example, hopefully he's a great player, but with the reports about him receiving 3 years, $8 million. What if he doesn't? What if he struggles? What happens then? I mean, that's going to happen eventually. How those guys in Knoxville going to feel about that? How is it going to go over in the locker room? You know, that is, again, the quote from Kirk Herbstreit, and I don't disagree with him there. I don't disagree with how, as an $8 million player, what's going to happen. We've talked about the quarterback competition going into 2023. Joe Milton, Taven Jackson, Nico Iamaleava, all three guys are going to be competing for that top spot after Hendon Hooker is hopefully off to the NFL. How much pressure is on Josh Heupel to start Nico Iamaleava? Where did the $8 million come from? How much pressure are they going to put on Josh Heupel to play the guy, the kid with the $8 million arm? What's that going to look like for the locker room? It's no different than the NFL. You know, people can go off and say the NFL is going to ruin college football, and it might. It might. I think what it has become is so far gone from what it should have been. You know, we're talking about NCAA football. We're talking about name, image, and likeness. We're talking about marketing opportunities. Now we're talking about collectives. We're talking about $8 million deals. That is so far gone from what I think NIL was intended to be. But here we are. You learn, you adapt, you grow, or you get left in the dust. That's why people like Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher that are out here claiming that they're not using NIL, they are liars. They are liars. And what's funny is you got one liar calling another liar a liar and denying. That's what they do. Jimbo, Nick Saban. It's hilarious. The locker room chemistry is going to be a huge factor when it comes to NIL, but it's no different. It's no different than the NFL. It is what it is. Your offensive linemen, they're not going to make what your five-star quarterbacks are making. They're not going to make what your stud running backs are making, wide receivers. No different than the NFL. So how does an NFL coach keep that locker room chemistry? It's no different. Here's a quote from Nick Saban. He says, I think, first of all, name, image, and likeness is a great opportunity for players to make money. Nick Saban said last week during a joint interview with Deion Sanders, they've always been allowed to work. This is another opportunity to use what they've created on their own through their own hard work to be able to earn money, and I think that's really, really good. Quote goes on to say, I think a couple of things are a concern. We allow alumni through collectives to get involved in recruiting and other things. That's something we've always guarded against in college football. That's hilarious. Nick Saban, you've been paying players for years. Now you're pretending like it's a problem. You're pretending that it's a problem for alumni to get involved and lump up their money and go recruit as if it's not been happening for years. He says, I think what kind of competitive balance are we able to create if we allow that to happen, which is not going to be great for fans. The best competitive balance you can have is like in the NFL. They have rules to create competitive balance, whether it's salary cap, difficulty of schedule, where you draft, where you pick relative to your win-loss record. Those things are important in the interest of creating a lot of good matchups on a national basis. That's the article from 24/7 Sports. Again, Kirk Herbstreit just goes in hard on Tennessee, on NIL, on Nico Iamaleava, and then Nick Saban follows it up. It's just comical. It's just comical. Now all of a sudden, Nick Saban wants everything to be on an even playing field. We've been talking about it for the last year. Nick Saban is not happy. I know he just signed the huge contract. That doesn't mean that Nick Saban's going to be there till the day he dies. It just means that he's going to be the highest paid coach in college football till the day he decides to walk away. I don't know when that is. We'll see. We'll see how much he likes NIL. We'll see if Alabama can keep up. Now's probably as good a time as any, this video. If we're going to talk about NIL, we're going to talk about recruiting. We are an official affiliate of Spire Sports Group, the Tennessee Volunteers NIL Collective. You can join the volunteer group using our link in the description below. Go join the volunteer club. You can take part. How do we get $8 million for Nico Iamaleava? Where does that money come from? You can be a part of that. Again, click the link in the description below. We're an affiliate, so they'll kick a little bit of money back our way, but 90% of every dollar generated goes directly to the student athletes. If you go look at the different membership tiers, you're not just donating money, you're getting some perks along the way, a newsletter, a decal, merchandise, a monthly autographed item, priority event access with Tennessee student athletes, quarterly autographed items, a custom video message, possible tailgates with Tennessee student athletes, possible watch parties with Tennessee student athletes. Again, the link is in the description below. You can make a difference in the world of recruiting. Also, kick a little money back to the Talkin VAWLS Network. We would appreciate it. But leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. I don't know that Kirk Herbstreit's necessarily wrong on some of this. But I just think he needs to keep Nico's name out of his mouth. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Hit the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. That's going to do it for this one. Make sure you guys join us Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time for Talking Balls Live. Myself, Dauber. Maybe JP. We'll see who shows up. Should be a good show. Basically like Christmas Eve. Waiting on kickoff on Thursday night. Also may go live tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning. Do you want another morning show? Do you want Boogie to take off work and bring another morning show Tuesday morning, 9 a.m.? Let me know. That's going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin' Balls Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.